Welcome to FBB Forum. My name is David, and this podcast is dedicated to all the amazing muscle ladies. If you like this content, please be sure to like and subscribe. I'm very pleased to welcome the beautiful IFBB Pro women's physique competitor, Natalia Spierings, to the podcast. Natalia most recently competed at the Atlantic Coast Pro Show in Fort Lauderdale and looked amazing on stage. She lives in the UK and works as a dermatologist. Welcome, Natalia. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me and for that lovely introduction.
Thank you. Now, I was curious, did you have an athletic or sports background before you started in bodybuilding?
No.
No?
Okay, not really. Like I was as when I was a teenager, definitely not. So I was very academic. Like I wanted to go to medical school. So, my parents are both very academic. And so the sports isn't something that we did in my family really. Like I did the obligatory like tennis lessons and things like that, but nothing to any kind of competitive level. And then I did some like triathlons when I was in my 20s. I did work as a personal trainer when I was a medical student because I liked lifting weights, but that was just basically to make some money as a student. It wasn't like, I mean, I wasn't very good at it, I don't think. But it was fun. It got me through like medical school financially, so that was good. But no, I didn't. No, I never thought that I would become like an IFBB pro ever.
Really? Yeah. Who convinced you to start bodybuilding or get into bodybuilding contests?
I can't really remember, but I think it was someone in the gym one day who just basically said, I think it was when I was in the state, like I was visiting my parents in Boston, and someone in the gym just said, yeah, you have like the build of a bodybuilder. And I was like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. But I was like, okay. And then I just kind of looked into it. And it was back in the day when Oxygen magazine was really popular. Do you remember that magazine?
Yes, I remember it. It was a good magazine.
Yeah, it was a great magazine. And I loved the women in that magazine, the way they looked. And I was just like, oh, one day maybe I'll look like Nicole Wilkins, and she used to be in there. And I was like, these women look amazing. And so I just one day I was like, okay, maybe I should try this. And I did my first bikini competition in 2013. I did really badly.
Okay. 2013. So it's been 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been 10 years, but I didn't plan on becoming a pro. It wasn't something I thought would ever happen. So basically what happened was I didn't compete from 2018 until 2022, partially because of COVID, because the gyms closed,
Mm.
and I couldn't do anything. So then when I decided to compete again, that was actually in 2020 when I was like, I want to compete again. But I decided I wasn't going to compete again unless I thought I could win something.
I
Because
understand.
I never really won anything. Like I just kind of, it was kind of like a personal thing, personal hobby. And so I didn't. So when I went to the Arnold UK in 2022, I just basically trained and prepared until I was ready.
Okay.
And then when my coach was like, "Okay, yeah, you look like you can compete now," I was like, "All right, what can I do?" And I was like, "Oh, the Arnold UK is coming up. I'll just do that one." But I had to do a qualifier 2 weeks before, so I could go to that. So I didn't win the qualifier, which is weird. So I didn't win the qualifier, so I didn't expect to win the Arnold. But then I competed against the same women and I did end up winning. And that's how I got a pro card. So it was really unexpected.
Wow. Is that
Yeah, it was really weird.
where you earned your pro card? Is it Arnold UK?
Yeah, the Arnold UK. So I got a pro card in figure and women's physique on the same day,
Wow, that's terrific.
which was
Wow.
crazy. Yeah. And I was like, what's happened? And it was really unexpected and it wasn't in my plan for my life at all. So yeah, it was a strange one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And what year was that you earned your pro card?
That was 2022. So it was
Oh,
last
okay.
year. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
yeah, I bet that did change your life quite a bit. And you're like, wow, I didn't, yeah, you didn't realize you'd
So
turn pro like that.
what do I do now? Because it was so unexpected. And I was just like, well, what should I do with this? So I basically I got home. I competed in the figure pro show the next day because that's kind of what they want you to do when you get your pro card in the Arnold, then they want you to compete in the pro show. So I
Mm.
stayed the extra day, which when I had to cancel a lot of stuff because I wasn't gonna get back on time to go to work and everything. So it was weird. And then I got home and I kind of thought about it and I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna be a doctor for the rest of my life, basically pretty probably. But I only have a small window to do this.
Yeah.
I was 41, so I was like, I'm a little old for this. So I have a small window, so I'll just give it everything I have now because in 5 years I might not be able to do this, but I still be able to be a doctor.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know.
Yeah,
So then I kind of thought, okay, well, all right, let's just go for it. And that's why I decided to go ahead and kind of compete as a pro and just go for it.
that's great. Yeah. I wanted to mention too about your background. You mentioned that you're Dutch. So did you grow up in the Netherlands?
Yeah, till I was 6, and then I moved to Boston when I was 6 years old.
Oh, okay. That's why you have the American accent. I was curious about that, but you don't have the Boston accent.
No, oh God, no, no. But I've lived in the UK since 2021, and 2001, and I've never lost my American accent.
Oh, I
So
see. Yeah. My cousin actually is an American expat, and but he can't lose his American accent because he's an actor. So
uh,
BBC radio will call up and need an American part. So he needs to
right,
retain that accent.
it's to retain. I think it's really hard to lose your accent, like
Mhm.
no matter how long you live somewhere.
Yeah,
So I've never tried to like sound different. I'm gonna sound like this for the rest of my life, so
that's
it's
awesome.
confusing. Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind.
That's very cool. Yeah. What brought your parents to Boston?
Well, my dad's a doctor, so Boston's kind of a medical hub, and he got offered a job. It was only meant to be for 2 years at one of the hospitals in Boston, but obviously that never happens. So they still live there.
It's
So
great. Yeah.
40 years later, we're, they're still
Yeah.
there.
That's
So that's
terrific.
why
That's
we,
very cool. That's awesome.
yeah.
Now, and when I wrote this next question, I didn't hadn't looked at your background in enough detail, but I said, you looked amazing at the Atlantic Coast Pro in Fort Lauderdale a few weeks ago. Is this your first pro show? And I noticed you'd actually done some other pro shows prior to that, but where else did you compete this year?
So I went to Phoenix for the Rising Phoenix, like the women's competition. And then
Mhm.
I went to Legion in Reno, which was just crazy. And then that was a huge event. And then I came back to London, and then I went to Romania for the Romania Pro, which was an experience. And then the week later, I went to Florida. So I
Oh,
did
so
four.
that's a lot of shows, and they're all
That's a lot of
relatively
shows.
close together too.
Yeah, and I kind of I wanted them to be close together because I don't think you can really stay in contest shape for, months and months. I don't think
Yeah.
that's great to do. But I also wanted to kind of do as much as I could. So I basically chose the shows totally based on location because
Mm.
Phoenix and Reno are quite close to each other, sort
Yeah.
of.
True.
Florida and Romania are not. But I can obviously, but I combined that with like going to see my parents for Thanksgiving, taking a little vacation with my friend in Fort Lauderdale. So I kind of tried to make it all fit together.
Sure. That's cool. No, I'm glad that it worked out for you, and you really looked awesome.
Thank you. It was my
Yeah.
best. I did the best. Usually, you do your best at the last event. You know what I mean? Because you've been spending the whole time prepping. So it was by far my best event, and I placed the best I had all season, and that was kind of the goal. I wanted to come in the top 10 in an open,
Hmm.
um, and I didn't think it was going to be in Fort Lauderdale because of the competition there. But miraculously, I came in eighth. So I
I
was
saw
like,
that. Yeah, top 10. That was a big
yeah.
lineup too.
Big lineup. Yeah. I was like, whoa. So I was really happy when I finished that because I don't know if you noticed that my tan was red. No.
Yeah, I remember you mentioned that. Yeah, why was it red like that? That was
I
weird.
have well, you'd think that I'd know as a dermatologist, but I'd never had liquid sun rays before. I've only ever used Protan. And
Uh-huh.
my skin reacted really badly to liquid sun rays.
Oh, really? Well, that's weird, huh?
Yeah, it was weird. I turned red the next morning after having the first coat the night before, and then I continued to get more red after the show. And I was so itchy. I spent days and days trying to remove that tan. I had a really weird allergic, not, I don't think it was, I should know this, but I don't think it was an allergic reaction. I don't really know what happened. I can never use liquid sun rays again.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Is it
Yeah.
um you had a red suit too, so
I know. Oh my God. One of my friends, she watched it on the pay-per-view and she was like, why are you so red? You look naked in the red suit, like you're not wearing anything. And I was like, oh no. Like, oh,
Oh
that's
man.
not the goal. But yeah, that was terrible. I was so itchy
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
the days after. I was like, what the hell is happening? It was, yeah, no, liquid sun rays is a lovely tan, but it's just not for me.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Yeah, you have to keep an eye out for them going forward
Yes.
and find an alternate tan when you
Yeah,
can.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
And
not fun.
oh, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that though. Oh my gosh.
It will never happen again. So yeah.
It was kind of like it was like your lobster look, you know. I'm being silly.
Yeah, my face was a totally different color. And at one point I was like, should I make my face more red? Like, how am I gonna like even oh God, it was I was like, forget it. I can't, I'm just gonna ignore this redness. I just tried to ignore it. But the judges did comment on it. They're like, your tan was a bit funny. I was like, oh my God.
Oh no. I,
Whoa.
I really think you look great though. Your physique was amazing. So yeah, and I don't think it was too distracting, but it was, yeah. Yeah.
No,
Sorry you had to deal with that though. Now,
terrible.
you talked about getting your pro card at Arnold UK last year. And I just find it kind of sad and frustrating that many of the pro qualifiers in Europe are kind of more like no qualifiers because
Yeah.
the pro card often isn't given out due to lack of competitors. I'm just curious about your take on that. I know it doesn't seem to happen in the USA so much, but
Yeah, I mean the Arnold is notorious, has become no, I mean, I want to continue the Arnold in the US like a lot, really. I mean, everyone does, because it's the second biggest event after the Olympia, but they don't have women's physique again this year. So,
no, that's true.
and in the UK event, because the UK Arnold is happening a week before the US Arnold, I think it's either a week before or a week after, and they also don't have women's physique pro.
Oh, really?
So
Wow.
yeah, so it's terrible. It is a qualifier, but I don't know if it is going to be a pro qualifier. But I don't know if they have. I think they do have women's physique as an amateur, but it's the only place in the UK you can get a pro card for the IFBB. But there's not a lot. I think in Romania you can get a pro card,
Okay.
and in Kazakhstan you can get a pro card.
Uh-huh.
That show that everyone goes to. But and I think in Portugal at the some Portugal event, but that's basically it. Yeah, there's not a lot of opportunities within Europe for that,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. So yeah,
It's got to be disappointing for the competitors who work so hard and technically were the best on stage and then they still don't get the pro card. It's like, oh, it'd be
yeah,
heartbreaking.
especially in like fitness where there's not enough. I mean, fitness is my favorite category of all the categories.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, yeah, a lot of people. I think. Do you think? I mean, fitness is amazing. I think fitness is amazing.
I like it.
Yeah,
It's amazing. Yeah, watching the
so much.
routines and
Watching the routines. Yeah.
yeah. I was at
So
the
and it's
Olympia and
oh, you're at the Olympia. Oh yeah.
the two ladies got injured and it was like kind of heartbreaking seeing them injured on stage. I was like, oh, it was terrible.
I watch it. I think I tried to watch it live, the finals, but I think it was like 3 in the morning. I
Uh-huh.
don't know when I watched it, but when I saw Missy fall, or she didn't fall, but kind of go down, I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I was, and then Whitney had another. I was like, you guys, what is going on this event? Like, you guys are all just, collapsing. But it was amazing to see. What's her name? Is her name Taylor?
Oh yeah,
The,
Taylor.
the
Yeah,
one who
little
came
T.
in second.
Yeah, she's
Yeah,
amazing.
she's amazing. I saw her perform, get her Olympia qualification at at Legion because she was there and she won Legion.
Uh-huh.
I watched her from the because I love watching fitness, so I always try to watch it from the audience, and she was just incredible. It
Yeah.
was incredible. Yeah,
She's
she's
a real
amazing.
crowd pleaser because she's so dynamic on stage and she's so
Yeah.
sweet too. I actually had
Is she
interviewed
seems,
her too.
oh, did you?
Yeah, she's super sweet. Yeah, I liked her.
Yeah. Oh no, she seems so cool. So I mean, fitness is my one of my favorite, category. But because there's not a lot of fitness competitors, it's really hard to get your pro card here in fitness because it's just you need to have 5 competitors to get a pro card
Yeah.
qualification, and there's never 5.
That's a shame, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I was curious, where do you hope to compete next? And would you come back to the USA again? But I imagine since your parents are here, yeah, but there are just so
Yeah.
many more pro shows here than back in Europe.
Oh my God, there's so many more. So I don't think I'll do any in Europe because the timing isn't very good.
Mm,
Because so everything's happened for me quite late. So like I don't really want to compete again until like September. So I'm pretty sure I'll do the Masters World Championships in Pittsburgh.
yeah.
That's the 1st of September. But then I don't know the schedule for the rest of the season yet because I don't think it's been published
No,
or
not yet.
it's not been thoroughly put out there. I mean, I wanted to go back to Legion, but apparently the competitions I choose are like the most competitive ones,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't. really realized that. So my kind of my coach and I have a sponsor now. They're like, can you not do those ones?
Oh,
Because
really?
they want me to qualify for the Olympia. So as everyone wants to qualify, so like, can we do something a little bit less? Like they're like, can you go to Vancouver? I'm like, well, no. Or like the Oklahoma Pro. I'm like, well, um, the timing just doesn't work. So because some of
Yeah,
the pro shows are much smaller, and kind of you want to be a little strategic about where you go so that you can get that Olympia ticket.
that's
Um,
true. Yeah,
yeah, so I'm gonna have to look at it a little more carefully and decide. But in the end, it's gonna come down to like the timing, and I'm willing to travel anywhere. So
cool.
um, yeah, so I'm pretty much like I wouldn't mind going to like Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah. I hope that comes back. That one didn't even
Oh, it's
take
not.
place.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't happen. Oh, I didn't see. I didn't even know
No,
that.
it got
Um.
canceled like mid-year, unfortunately.
Oh no.
Hmm.
Okay. So I have to look at the calendar because not there's not like last year there were I think 18 shows for Women's Physique
Hmm.
globally.
Yeah,
Yeah. So there's not like all of them. So you have to be a little strategic and kind of
yeah,
look at the calendar. But I don't think I'll be ready to compete again until September.
sure. I understand. Yeah. That'd be great to have you come back to the US though and compete. And yeah,
I definitely want to do the Atlantic Coast because I thought that was, though super competitive, I thought it was a really well run show. Have you been there
yeah,
before to that event?
I have. It's great. Yeah, that's a Tim Gardner show. He does a really good job, I think, with his
Yeah.
shows.
Because the timing worked. Like there wasn't any weird timing issues. And like we went in, we went on, and we're done. So there
Hmm.
wasn't any of this like, hour and a half delay and stuff. The Arnold was terrible. We had could have, no, not the Arnold, my qualifier. So, it sucks to have to sit for like 3 hours and wait.
Hmm. I
Um,
know.
so I thought that was the best organized show I've ever been to. Legion was pretty good too, but that was really good. So I do want to go back to that just because it was well organized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I live in Tampa, and Gardner's in Tampa, and he does the Tampa Pro Show, but that's in August, so it might be too early for you.
Might be too early. And I don't know if they have women's physique there.
They do.
Oh, do they? Oh, okay. Then I'll
Yeah,
look at that one too. Because
yeah,
then I have a friend, my very good friend, who came with me to the Arnold UK. Actually, my friend Samantha, she's moving to Jacksonville, Florida.
oh, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's gonna be convenient. So I kind of thought I would come to the States and kind of base myself from her house for like a month.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That'd be
and
great.
just
Yeah.
kind of it'd be fun because I can't. It's really difficult for me to deal with the jet lag flying back and forth.
Yeah, I
Um,
bet. Yeah.
it's a killer. So I was like, well, I might as well just stay there. And if she's going to be living there, I'll just live. She already said I could stay at her house.
Oh, that's terrific. Yeah. Jacksonville's a good spot too. Um,
It's like northern. Yeah.
yeah. Uh-huh. And it's pretty centrally located, for Florida and Georgia and stuff. So yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly. So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, that might be what I'll do next year because I do think I want to. I need to take a little bit of time off work because this year I kind of killed myself trying to do everything, and I just can't do
Yeah.
that.
I
Yeah.
understand. And you had a lot of shows too. So yeah.
Yeah, and it was just a lot of going on, and I need to be a little like I can't fly to the West Coast of the United States, fly back, and go to work the next day. It just doesn't.
No, no, that's tough. Yeah, no, you're 5 hours ahead of where I am on the East Coast of Florida
Yes.
or East Coast of United States. So yeah, that's tough enough to do in the 5 hours, but adding three, then it's like, oh, yeah,
I
that,
mean, I didn't sleep for like 2 weeks. It was just terrible. I was like, oh God, no one
oh,
warned me about this terrible jet lag business because I never go to the West Coast of the United States. It's just really far. Like,
it is. Yeah, that's a long ways.
yeah, it was like 12 hours. It's like, oh, I don't want to do this again. But if I'm in Florida, then I can, it'll be easier. So I'll probably be in the States for like probably 2 months next year. It'll be
Hmm.
interesting.
That'll be
Yeah.
great. Yeah,
It'll be fun.
definitely. Yeah, that's awesome.
See what happens.
Now, I was curious, do you have a prep coach?
I do. I have had the same coach since 2017. His name is Menno Henselmans. I don't know if you follow, you might not
No,
know.
I'm not familiar with it.
Um, yeah, so he's I don't know if he trains any other IFBB pros actually. I have to ask him that because I actually don't know. But he's been my coach for many, many years. And he's seen me go through all sorts of changes. And I really trust him 100%. You should, I mean, you can look him up on Instagram. He's a really great coach, and but he's not like a well-known IFBB kind of bodybuilding coach. But
Sure.
what the benefit for me is that he has so much data about me because he's very data orientated. Like
Yeah.
like with Excel files and my weight and my body fat percentage and my caliper readings and my how much I'm lifting and da da da. So he has like all this data from me back to 2017. So there's no one who knows me better than he does in terms of how to prep and what my weight should be and what's changing. So
Okay.
so yeah, so he's yeah, so I have him as my coach.
That's terrific. I'll make sure to get his IG from you, and then we'll
Yes.
include his Instagram in the
Mm,
comments.
thank
How about
you.
a posing coach? Because I thought you looked really graceful up on stage.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a posing coach. Her name is Sarah. She's in London, and she also is my trainer here. Because so I have a coach who does my overall like planning, like with my nutrition and my programming, but he doesn't live in London, and
Mm.
he lives in Madrid now, I think. And then so Sarah, I try to have to train with a trainer because I need someone to like keep me going on the
Uh-huh.
days where I'm like I'm tired. So Sarah's my trainer here, and she's also my posing coach here.
Oh, nice. Very good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she's a former NABA competitor. I don't know if you know the NABA Federation.
Yes. I
Yeah.
like NABA a lot. Yeah. They have,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Is,
she did toned figure in NABA,
oh,
I think.
yeah.
And she was the British champion in 2015.
That's like where they wear the heels, but still pose like
Yeah.
physique. Yeah. Women's.
Correct.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's where they wear the heels but still pose like physique. So she's been my posing coach for a long time. And then I'm also going to start working with Ashley Cooper, who you probably know.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, in Texas.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna do posing with her as well because she has a slightly different um, feel or take on it. And then I do a lot of like peripheral things, like I take ballet lessons to help me with posing.
Really? Oh, wow.
Just I'm terrible at ballet, and I take Latin dance lessons to help me with posing and stage presence.
I saw some
Yeah,
of that up on stage too. You did some Latin moves. That was nice. It looked good.
yeah, it was fun. It's very much not something I'm good at, so I've had to really like I'm not a dancer and I'm not a performer, so I was like, well, I'm gonna try my best to make this look as good as possible because I think the performance aspect of the sport is really really important.
I think so
And
too.
yeah, because it's for the audience, you know,
Hmm.
it's fun to watch. And I was like, okay, well, I can't not do this correctly. So I mean, I was doing like 3 ballet lessons a week, 3 Latin dance lessons a week, posing coach every day for like probably about 8 months to get ready for that.
Wow, that's
It doesn't come
amazing.
naturally to me. Yeah, it doesn't come naturally at all. So I was like, if I'm gonna do this, so this has always kind of been my personality. So if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it 100% because otherwise I'll be too nervous on the day.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It's good that you practice like that. And you can tell when ladies don't practice, because they're a little awkward on stage or don't flow well. But you flowed really well, I thought.
Oh, thank you. Thank
You're
you. Yeah,
welcome.
thank you. That's a huge compliment because that takes so much work. So yeah, thank you.
I gotta pause just real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure.
I'm just gonna pause the recording real quick.
No, no problem.
Okay, we are back. Sorry about that. I was curious if you've coached any clients, for bodybuilding or lifestyle. I know you're pretty busy, you probably don't have time.
Yeah, no, and I also don't see myself as an expert in this. Even though I worked
Yeah,
as a personal trainer when I was much like 20 years ago, I would never. I don't have the qualifications. It's not my area of specialty at all. I wouldn't know how, I mean, I probably wouldn't know how to train someone, I think, but I wouldn't be confident in it. Because I think the two skills are very separate. Like being an athlete and being a coach are very different.
yes, I
Um,
agree.
and a lot of athletes cross over and do both, and I totally see why, and I appreciate that. But I don't have the qualifications at all. Like I mean, I did a qualification. I did the what is it? Strengthening. I'm a strength and conditioning coach, but I did that 20 years ago.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
understand.
I mean, things have changed. So,
Yeah.
um, and I don't. I actually have very little interest in that, which I know sounds terrible,
Oh,
but
no,
I don't really want to know anything about training like technically which I
sure.
it sounds really weird but I actually I just need a professional who knows to tell me what to do but that's partially because I very much focus on my own profession and like I just want to know my thing really well.
Yeah, I understand. Uh-huh.
So it's a bit weird. I actually don't ask my coach very many questions when he starts to change my programming I very rarely now ask him to explain anything because I'm like, well, okay, why am I doing an incline bench rather than a flat bench? I don't care.
Sure, I understand.
Or whatever, I'll just do it. So I kind of just trust the process, and Mena's been my coach for so long that I know that he knows what to do, and I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever.
That's great. That's great that you have a good relationship with him like that, and worked with him for so long too.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's great. Mm.
and you mentioned your profession as a dermatologist, and I've only met a handful of bodybuilding physicians like you, but I was curious, why did you pursue dermatology for a career? And I was curious if you could you talk a little bit about the Skin A&E show that we talked about earlier too.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I mean, choosing dermatology when I was a medical student, I was like kind of being very practical about my career choice, and I wanted to do. So the UK is very different from the States because we have a national health service where it's like a
Mm-hmm.
public health service. So you have to work within that service for a certain amount of time. Really, when you're training, you become an attending. So I was like, well, I don't want to do night shifts because I suck at night shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I also like the whole skin stuff because you can see the disease in front of you rather than having to like do a test or an X-ray.
That's
So it
true.
was very much, yeah, it was very much a practical decision. And then you can see when it's better. Like I don't have to go and like test your kidneys to see if you're responding to the medication or whatever.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
yeah. And I'm a simple mind, I just want something that's very straightforward. And I can just see the disease and I can treat it and then it's gone. So, and no night shifts, which
Yeah,
is
that's really nice, huh?
yeah, because I've always been like into exercise and, well, I mean, since I was in my 20s and going to the gym every day. And I didn't want that to mess up my kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
So it was a very practical decision. It was the right decision for me because it's especially that I'm actually quite good at, which is good. But it wasn't something that I had like planned.
Sure, I understand. How'd you get
Yeah.
involved with the TV show too?
Oh, right. So that actually came through an auditioning process. So they sent an email, the TV channel or the production company that makes the show basically sent an email to every single dermatologist in the country and asked who wants to be involved in a TV show. And I remember I was like, oh yeah, I'll respond to this. I have no idea what I'm responding to. And I just said, yeah, sure, I'll be interviewed. And they went through a whole series of interviews. It took like I think 4 interviews over like 3 months before they offered me the job.
Wow,
Um, yeah, so it just kind of these things just kind of happen sometimes when you're not really planning it. And I wasn't looking to be on a TV show, but it worked out quite well.
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Is it
yeah.
you said it's kind of similar to Dr. Pimple Popper?
Yeah, it's like the same premise, but there's 5 dermatologists rather than just one. So there's 5 of us.
Oh, I see.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. So, but we don't interact with each other a lot. But it's more varied than that show. I've actually never really watched that show either, but I've seen it on YouTube. Um, but it's more, yeah, we do, and we also do other things like we do segments about skin disease and specific problems as well. So it's quite a varied thing.
So if there was like a talent portion to a bodybuilding show, you could be up there like excising some skin cancer on stage or something, you know.
Totally. Or like a lipoma. But I do it's really bad because obviously in a bodybuilding competition everyone's basically not wearing very many clothes. So and I when I'm waiting backstage, I just cannot not look at people's skin.
Hmm.
So I'm just like, oh, look at that little because I see lipomas and cysts and acne and like
Yeah.
eczema, and I just want to be like, oh, should I just go and say something? But I try to be a bodybuilder when I'm there and not be a doctor because it's just annoying for people.
Uh-huh. If you're like stuck in with a scalpel, you know, and some numbing spray, like,
Yeah,
it's up to
exactly.
something.
Let's just remove that for you, like that little skin tag or whatever. But yeah, no, I try not to look at people's skin that much.
I understand. Yeah. I know. Are you willing to talk about what happened to your skin at Atlantic Coast?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I turned red. Yeah, so I don't really have any skin problems myself, thankfully. But this was the first time this ever happened to me. So I turned red from the spray tan, and I
Yeah.
just continued to get more and more red, and I had some kind of allergic reaction to the spray tan. So I didn't have it. It made my whole body red, so I look a bit red on stage. But then when I washed it off, it was like patchy redness and really itchy.
Oh,
And it took about a week for it to go away. So
wow.
yeah.
What a pain.
No pain, total pain. I didn't have any. like I was thinking, God, I need some treatment for myself, but I didn't have anything with me. So
Oh,
I just used moisturizer and just tried to get the tan off, and that was it.
I
So
thought you looked terrific still with your physique, and you know, like cracked the top 10 too. But you know,
yes,
but the fact you had the red suit, you said your friend thought you looked
she
naked.
said, she's like, you look naked. I was like, oh my God, like that's not the look I was going for. Like this is terrible. But I just, she called me. She said, aren't you freaking out about this? And I was like, well, there's amazingly, I was quite calm because I was like, there's nothing I can do. Like,
Hmm.
I can't. And the tanning ladies were extremely nice about it. Like, they were trying to figure
Yeah.
out what they could do to help me. Like, can we cover this up? They sprayed me with a different tan to try to cover the red
Hmm.
between prejudging and finals, but nothing made a difference.
Oh no, so sorry. Yeah,
It
but
just became a bit funny, actually. I was like, yep, red. But yeah, you
oh
learn.
man. Well, we're almost out of time, but so I just wanted to thank you so much for joining me, and you're really awesome person, and
Oh, thank
wish
you.
wish you the best for next year and competing, and hope to see you maybe compete on stage next year.
Yes, and come obviously say hi, and we could do another little chat about it. Hopefully, if I do well, so we'll see what happens.
Oh,
So,
terrific! Yeah, hope you get to the Olympia next year too.
yeah,
Hope
me
to see you.
too.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, appreciate it, and I'll get this posted relatively soon. But thank you, Natalia.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.